In this video, we're going to learn how to make a flare. We have our ACR copper 1/4 inch. We're going to create a tapered edge on the tubing called a flare, which a flare nut is inserted into it, and then we screw it onto the fitting. There's a taper on the fitting, the taper on the flare fits in there, then the nut holds it in place. So we're going to create this taper called a flare. Take our tubing cutter. Tubing cutter has a reamer, ratchet, pull it out. Cutting 1/4 inch ACR copper, soft, and we're going to cut a small piece off. And our copper should be rolled back up. When you unroll this copper, hold it down and just unroll right across. We have our piece. Now we have our flaring tool, the block, the bottom part's the block, top part's the yoke. Numbers are listed here in outside diameters because we're working with ACR. This is 1/4 inch ACR copper. Find the 1/4 inch. It's going to put a 45 inch flare on this. Put it in a little bit above, just a little crack above. Lock it in. Screw the side piece. There's different styles. This one here is a pretty nice one. Side screws on like that, holds it in place. We crank the handle. Releases, we go backwards to take it out. Back up the yoke and unlock it off the block. Pull it out. You can see there it's down inside here. Open this up. There's my tapered end, and that taper end will fit onto the flare fitting. Flare nut goes in behind here. It's got a taper, screws right in. Now we have a flare fitting. Flare fitting can be removed. If I want to remove this flare fitting without cutting, the tubing cutter has a bevel on it right here, and that bevel is for cutting flares. If my flare, I always want to check my flare, make sure that my flare doesn't have any cracks. If I'm not happy with the flare, I put it up in the bevel part. I'm putting it in the bevel part. Screw that down. And that is made, that will cut my flare then right off. It's kind of a hard little piece, but that will cut the flare off on a large piece of tubing. That's the design for that.